Ryan, what's going on, buddy?
Matt, what's up, dude?
Not too much. Hold on, give me 1 second. For some reason,
Yeah, no worries.
why does that let me start the video? Let's see. Oh, it says unable to start your video because the host stopped it. No worries.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it's all good. Let me see if I can make you. What's up, Simon? Make you the host, Matt.
No worries.
What's going on? How you doing, Ryan? You all right?
Yeah, man. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. I can't turn on the video for some reason.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. I'm gonna start with Matt today, anyways. Dan's gonna be joining us too, just FYI. But I'm gonna get started with Matt. So yeah, you can just chill, Simon, listen in. You know, do your thing. I'm just gonna let Dan in real quick too. Oh, damn it! I gotta make myself. Matt, can you make me the host again? Oh, never mind. I got it. What's up, Dan? How we doing?
There you go. How are you guys? What's up?
Just for everyone to meet each other, we got Dan, we got Matt, we got Simon. For order here, I'm going to start. I'm going to start with Matt, then go to Dan, then Simon. We're going to close out at the end of this. Sound good, y'all?
Sound good. I can't enable my video for whatever reason. I'm not trying to be mysterious.
Everyone's having that problem right now.
All right. No worries then. Perfect.
No worries. Cool. All right, Matt, what's going on, dude? How's everything?
Going good, man. Appreciate you guys taking the time. The biggest thing that I wanted to go over today is kind of our project plan and see if there's some things that maybe we have that's just some fluff that maybe we could potentially eliminate, or some things that you potentially see that we can add.
Yep.
We've gone through, and I think I sent you the file prior. Is it something be help to kind of share my screen, or do you kind of have it?
Yeah, you want to share your screen? I for whatever reason, I don't see it in your folder. I'm going to DM in right now. Are you able to share your screen, or do you need to be the host?
Host is able to attend screen share. Yeah, I think I have to be the host.
Yep. All right, try now.
All right, let's try this. Let's see. Okay. You see that okay?
Yep, got it.
All right. So yeah, I mean, we basically took, kind of the template that we had prior to joining the blueprint, and then added in some additional things, obviously like the WQA and a lot of things that are within the blueprint training. But, just kind of, I think Dan and I are actually in the same space, which is kind of funny. But the majority of our clients are real estate investors that come to us that have pretty much no SEO work done on their site. So we're starting from ground zero on pretty much everybody. Kind of good backstory. And so, the biggest thing that we're struggling with is how to establish a secure foundation for them and do it in not a cheap price, but an affordable price. For us and also for the client, because most of our clients, their ceilings are probably that $5,000, $5,500 mark. And, for us, we still have to at least make it, profitable on our end too. So I've kind of gone through, and this right now is, our margins make sense. The hours make sense. Our team is able to handle this, but I just really wanted you to get a second set of eyes on it and see if there's anything that, you think we could add, we should subtract.
Yeah.
We do have an onboarding checklist that kind of goes into like some very basic stuff, like setting up social profiles, making sure that, that we've got everything kind of buttoned up there, making sure like Google Tag Manager, like most of our clients don't even have Google Tag Manager installed. So we've got to go in and set up Google Tag Manager, set up analytics, set up Search Console, all that fun stuff. So that's all included in that check.
Who do you have doing that?
So I have a VA on my team that does it, and we've kind of built out SOPs for that. Like, how do you set up?
Perfect. So it doesn't cost you a couple $100 tops.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. What would you price this campaign that we're looking at right now per month?
So it really depends on the number of links that we're acquiring, because I charge those on per link acquired or like a piece of content written, because we still write content for clients.
Okay.
Most of our clients don't have a marketing team or, a writer that they can go to get that content written. Like I think you and I have talked about, it really needs to be a turnkey process.
Yep.
To be successful for these guys. So we still write content. We still build content outlines. But the way that I go about it is I take a look at the competitiveness of the market. How many links are people building on a monthly basis, and then we have to do one better or potentially a couple more than that. So if we're just doing, say, like 2 per month, or let's say like on this one, I think we have 4 links and 2 blog posts. I just put like a standard template. I think this is about 3,000 to 3,500 a month.
Okay. So here's what I'll say. The first step to me, and this is actually a process that we've gone through continuously at our agency, and I'll share you kind of like our updated process after we go through your stuff, is stripping stuff down that does not drive direct results, right? Or things that the client cares about, right? So like one of the things that I would say that's easy to get rid of is the kickoff report analysis, right? You can just like highlight them in a different color. You can make the decision if you want to get rid of it later. Yeah, down a little bit. That's one that we've gotten rid of. Because think about it this way: if if they don't have, especially if they don't have GA set up, there's nothing to report on, right? So I would remove that one. It's in line 8. And then the competitive analysis is another one that we found to be very much so a fluff deliverable, if you will. Like,
you're talking about the landscape audit?
Yeah, basically what we found was that it was quite a bit of work for us to do, and the client would either be like, okay, cool, or they would be like, this doesn't tell me what I'm looking for, right? The people who really care about the competitors, it tends to be almost coming from a place of ego as opposed to a place of like true growth where it should be coming from. So instead of doing that, basically what we've come up with is that we're doing the competitive analysis that we need as a part of like the keyword gap analysis, right? Because we're using that. So basically what we've also migrated to is using the keyword gap very sparingly. We'll use the keyword gap as kind of like, actually, this is probably a good time if you don't mind. Let me share my screen real quick so that way I can, we'll come back to you in a second. Just got to make me the host. Claim host. Okay. I'm just going to share my screen to give you context for kind of our thought process going through this. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Can, yeah.
Okay. So I posted a video in here, but it was more kind of like our team internally. I just literally reposted what I posted to my team. So basically what we've done with this too. So we use these sprints, right, at our agency. So everything in blue is our strategy sprint, content sprint, link sprint. So this is another thing too, is that we actually moved from 4 sprints to 3. We basically said, well, we were doing like a core pages sprint, which was like a landing pages sprint. And we were like, fuck it. Anything that's a piece of content, anything that's a page, let's just call it content, and let's dump it all into one thing. So we've got our onboarding, project planning, client kickoff call. This is just a difference between new and existing. And I think this is important for you guys, because if you're working with sites a lot of times that like aren't built out versus are built out, like you're probably going to want to have a slight deviation in your process, right? Because for us, we said like, okay, the website quality audit we want to run for everyone. But then if we're signing 25% of clients who don't have the proper website structure, they don't have data set up, they're just missing a lot of pages. The audit is kind of not that useful, right? So instead of that, what we developed is basically like a site page architecture kind of deliverable, which basically just says, we're just going to go into a spreadsheet and we're going to map out your URL structures, what pages that you should have. Also looking at your competitors too, like how do their site structures, what do they look like, blah, 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 et cetera. I think this will probably be effective for you, because if you're getting a lot of websites that aren't built out or, don't have the proper structure needed, then like, as opposed to doing the WQA, you can do kind of like a site architecture design, right? And right off the back of that too, so we've actually moved from calling the keyword gap analysis to the competitive keyword analysis. Just a small change, but has kind of a big impact on how we use it, right? So basically, if it's a new website, we're saying, okay, we're going to build the project plan, we're going to have the kickoff call, present it to you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build you kind of like the site architecture diagram. So we're going to do a full website crawl to see what you have. And then basically we're just going to build out your folders in a spreadsheet, just kind of like seeing them, how they progress down, like a URL architecture exercise, like what should the URL structures be? Like, do we need to redirect other ones into this? A visual sitemap, if you want to. Basically, you can just use a tool like this. This is just Lucid Chart, super easy to use. That just like shows their like top level navigation, the pages underneath it, the correlation between them, etc. And then also we'll create like the content silos here. So kind of what we talk about in the content modules of the blueprint, which is like, what are the core topics that this business should be focused on, kind of like the blog level and the content level. So then we'll put that together. And then from there, we'll say, okay, like now let's use the keyword gap analysis to build out a complete keyword universe of everything that's out there. And then we'll go through that. And instead of like going through and kind of in the videos, how we have it now is we go through and like, okay, let's use this to like come up with content silos. We've kind of gotten away from that. And we're just saying, we're using this as a piece. This is a data. This is a source of data, right? This competitive keyword analysis, this keyword gap analysis, if you will, is just a dump of all the competitors out there and all the keywords that are kind of in the universe. We're not going to do anything with this per se, aside from use this as keyword ideas to take the next step. So basically what we'll do is we'll run that, and then we'll simultaneously have that open along with Ahrefs, and just kind of going through and looking at competitors. So this is where the competitive analysis comes in, right? Looking at competitors at the keyword level and the URL level, as opposed to like, how many social followers do they have, blah, 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 et cetera, right? When we go the social follower route, like the template that we have, which by the way, we're blowing up completely in what we're working on now. We're focused on, we're like stripping away the stuff. This is kind of our original conversation. We're stripping away the stuff that doesn't impact the work that we're doing, right? Like if we're not doing social media, why the fuck do we need how many Facebook followers they have? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. It's a waste of our time. And it also then opens up a kind of an avenue in their mind that changes expectations, think we're going to go a different route, right? So it's something easy to strip away. But, you know, competitive research comes into play with SEO if like you need to understand what the website should look like you said, right? Like what keywords are they using? Like how are they using those keywords? Are they building blog content? Basically what's working for them. And then rolling that back into like the site architecture, right? So kind of using the keyword gap analysis to formulate topic and page ideas that they don't have, right? So then what we've moved to, this is a big change. I know I'm kind of throwing a lot of different stuff at you because this is not in the blueprint, but you guys are getting first access to it as platinum members, is that the output of this is then just the content workbook. So the same content workbook that's in the content strategy, what we're saying is that this is actually the best output for this type of work. And the same thing up here too, right? So I'll give you the context for this for the website quality audit. So if it's a website that has all the pages built out, a ton of content, we'll run the website quality audit. And then we'll use that for two main goals. So just like I said here, we're using the keyword gap analysis as a source of data. We're now using the website quality audit as a source of data. Like this has everything that we need for the rest of the SEO campaign. So we're going to continuously refer back to this, but we're going to specifically use this to come up with specific outputs. So one of them is, of course, we're like finding technical roadblocks, right? Still the same process there. We're going to analyze the same thing there. We're going to find technical issues. We're going to build a list of them, and then we're going to put it in their actions tab. Y'all go handle this, right? That's part one. So the website quality audit, we're using that for technical outputs. The next thing is to use it to audit content. So in the current blueprint, we have the content audit like downstream. We decided to move it upstream here because what we want to do is we want to get a full picture of all the pages on the website and everything that we need to take a look at, right? So we'll go through, we'll review existing performance. We're not doing like a deep scrub. We're not reviewing each page like for more than a couple minutes each or a couple seconds each. Basically, what we want to do is just understand, okay, all the content that you have on your website, what do we want to do with it? Is it good as it is? Do we want to update it? Do we want to merge it? Do we want to, change the keyword targeting? So we're just building out a list of these pages, right? So now we have a list of all the technical roadblocks, and now we have a list of everything that we want to do from a content point of view. We have the competitive keyword analysis here too. This is in dots because that's only if they're missing like key pages or key keywords, right? So again, we'll run it here anyways because it takes 5 minutes. And now we've got two huge data sources. We've got the website quality audit, and now we've also got a keyword universe. This is literally all the data that we need for the rest of the campaign for where we want to go, right? So then the same thing here, we'll use this keyword analysis to kind of map together any missing pages that they might have. So again, the output for both of these is going to be this content workbook where we have a list of all the pages on their website currently and what we want to do with it. So, hey, we found 20 blog posts that we want to update. So we're just going to list them here. And now we've got them tagged here. By the way, we also ran, we checked out your keyword universe. We found out that you're missing like 20 really good keywords that we've kind of ideated into topics. And we built the URL structures here. They're not built yet, but now we have a list of these pages. These all need to be these all need page outlines. Well, they all need page outlines, right? So now we have 20 pages that are on the website that need to be updated. We have 20 pages or topics that we want to create into content. It could be a landing page. It could be a webinar. It could be whatever, right? These are just key keywords, right? Are you with me so far?
Yep.
Okay. So then from there, like target pages doesn't really change. This is just a tracking mechanism. But then what we're working on doing is building an SEO strategy, right? So the output, so traditionally what we've been doing is like kind of using this deck for the output of the website quality audit, but instead we're saying, kind of F that, right? Like let's put together a document that has all your technical roadblocks. Here's what they are. Here's how to fix them. If you want dev hours, we can fix it for you, right? That's number one. Number two is we looked at all the content on your website. Here's what we decided about all that and what we want to do with it. We also then went out and did a ton of keyword research, not keyword research, but we identified your keyword universe, and we understand now what pages that you're missing. So the output of this is basically every page that you need to focus on for an SEO campaign, plus an SEO strategy that has like templated slide decks, just templated stuff that you can provide more information to them. And it's great because you're working with the same type of clients. So you can come up with the same generic recommendations. Like, this is a tone that you should be writing in. Like, this is what like the top, like you can go into like stuff that people are doing on YouTube and social media here too, because it's all templated, right? And you can just kind of push that onto them if you will, or just keep it simple and just be like, this is everything that we've done. And now this is the stage that we're at. These are all the pages that we're going to work on. You good with this? Yeah, we're good with this. Okay, cool. Have a strategy call, review all that. And then the next thing that we do is now we have a list of all these pages. And again, new, update, build new, whatever, blah, blah. Now we go into the content brief process. And this is where we do keyword research now, right? So as opposed to doing keyword research before where we're blowing out every page, we're now doing it one by one. And the reason why we're doing that is because what we found is that, our SEO strategists who were doing the website quality audit also were doing keyword research, and then it would get passed to the content team where they would still have to go through and like do their own version of keyword research to kind of get context for what to build in the content briefs or the articles, right? So we just said, no, we're just going to identify the topics, and then each content brief, we now do keyword research directly into the content brief at the page and URL and topic level, right? So we get them here. We're selling this strategy now, starting at 5,000, trying to get up to like 15,000, being like, here you go, y'all. Like everything you need here is taken care of. Like you just got to go build these pages. We can do that for you, 10 pages per sprint, blah, 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 whatever. And we deliver the content briefs. And then we just go into link building and link coaching, and that's it. So it's a very simplified and streamlined process. Again, I'm showing you this for context. I don't necessarily expect you to, I'll make you the host again so we can look at your stuff again. But I wanted to give you context for like how you can think about stripping things down and focusing on like the simplest route to getting the most results. So we're taking care of everything. This is also much better structure for our clients. It's much easier for them to grasp and comprehend. It's also much easier for our team, right? We've drastically reduced the amount of work. So, again, just going through this too, I mean, the way that you have this listed out, you have it listed out at the task level, which is fine, completely your preference. But again, just things that you can be thinking about in terms of, especially when it comes to like who you're working with. So we work only with B2B websites now. So what we do is reduce our hedge on technical SEO and be like, yeah, we're just going to run a WQA. It takes us 2 hours, blah, blah, because they're probably not going to have much technical stuff. Probably going to be the same in your industry. Like they're all running on Carrot. You probably know what their issues are ahead of time. So just again, because you're working with the same type of client, it makes it so much easier to hedge and like kind of understand these things before they even happen. And then adapting your process and your offer to take care of that. Does that make sense? And then again, just like continuously stripping away stuff that like doesn't really have a huge impact on their services. And in a trap that a lot of folks fall into, and this is, part of my old thinking too, was like the more stuff that we can throw at them and do for them, the better. I know I talk about that in the blueprint. That's why I'm rebuilding it. But like we're on the opposite end of the spectrum now. We're like, it's not that we don't want to do more for them, but we're just completely focused on impact and outcome and output of our services, right? So it's less about like how many deliverables we can do to show them that we're doing work. And it's more about like, let's just focus all of our time and attention on doing a couple of things really, 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 really good. Like, how do we make our content briefs like the best in the friggin' world? Like, how do we make sure our content briefs, when created, they rank every single time, as opposed to being like, damn, I got to allocate 5 hours here to do a competitive analysis just to like wipe the client's butt when they don't even care about it, So focusing on those tasks that, if you do, are going to drive like a ton of value. So like the GMB stuff is really important, right? You definitely got to do that. But like, do you need to do a keyword gap analysis there? I mean, these are questions that you can just kind of ask yourself, right? And this is also way too much to do in month one. I'll say that. You've got a lot of stuff going on there. And are you month to month? Are you like locked into long-term contracts? How does that work for you?
So we do a minimum 6 months and it's month to month.
Okay. It's a lot to do for month one. You're literally doing an entire campaign in 1 month. Another thing too is like scheme improvement. Like how important is scheme in your industry? Is that really something worth doing? Is that something you do as like a value add to the client?
Yeah, probably more like a value add. The biggest thing, it sounds stupid, but the biggest thing that our clients like is they always come to us and like, my competitor has those stars under their website. How do I get those? Like that's the biggest thing that people want from the schema markup. So yeah, I
Well,
mean,
you know what you can tell them, man. I mean, if a lot of people are saying, do you have a process to get those implemented and set up and whatnot?
we do. So we have a template schema, and then I just have my guy go in for a couple bucks an hour, and
Okay,
he just updates
cool.
like the address,
Easy.
phone number,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like that. Again, if you have a process to do it, then absolutely do it, especially because that is definitely something that has an impact on click-through rate. So that's an example of something that, like, you know, if it has an impact on the campaign performance, you definitely want to do it. So keep that in there. Just reading through this.
I mean, I'll be honest, Ryan, like something I was going to ask you about is like these decks. These decks are fantastic, but I'll be honest, our clients don't read them.
Don't use them.
They just don't.
Consolidate. You know what I'm saying? What I would do is, so like if you look at what we've done, and that's a really good point too, because I put a lot of stuff in the blueprint for different levels of people and different levels of clients. But like if you're working with a client who like doesn't really want to have monthly calls and like blah blah blah, then like you don't need to do any of that stuff. You know, I would just pack it into like, instead of doing that, and another way that you can kind of focus this is like each month you focus on tackling one big thing, right? Which might help you with resource allocation a little bit better too. So like if month one you knocked out like all the technical things and like, I don't know, all the tracking things, right? And then month two, and you do it based on priority, right? In terms of what's most impactful. And then month two, it's like, all right, we're going all out blitz on local, like GMB, citations, you know, the whole nine there. And then keyword research is another one that's interesting. I mean, how much time are you spending on keyword research? Because I would imagine like, are you pretty much just spinning location through your keywords?
No, so we do it different based on each location. I mean, I have a pretty set idea. Like I kind of have like a templated idea of what the main keywords are, but each location we go in and we take a look and we still do a keyword gap analysis. What becomes challenging though, from our standpoint, is so many people do SEO horribly, horribly wrong in our industry. And so you may have like one person that ranks really, really well for two keywords, and then they have nothing else. Like they just care about the very, very bottom of the funnel keywords. And so using them as a competitor is pretty challenging because they don't have anything. So you almost have to go to national level, but then you kind of have to add those location modifiers to do that. So like we can look at big sites that are performing well on a national basis, what cities they're performing really well in, and then kind of extrapolate that data back to smaller areas, especially if those searches are under 50 a month. They're just not showing up in like SEMrush, Ahrefs, that sort of thing.
Okay. And you're doing both versions? Are you using the keyword gap and the kind of standard keyword research? You're doing both of those?
Yeah. So keyword gap we use more for content strategy, and then for page building we do standard keyword research.
Okay. Yeah, I would
location pages, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I got you. I would move like again, you're just doing so much in 1 month, man. It's kind of, and it's tough for me to give you a definitive direction here, because I get it, because like the faster you get stuff done, the quicker that you get the results. Right. And if you're able to do this and like sprint it out, then I don't want to tell you not to do it, because again, like knowing who your type of client is, if they're not the type of person, the type of client that's like, hey, what are you doing for me this month? And they're just kind of like, hey, send me the report and let me see the results. And like, you know, I'm not going to tell you not to do this. But I will just say, just like continuously, like, I don't think you need the link building strategy then. Personally, I don't think that you can spend time like on all the deck stuff. Again, like I think what you do instead of that is just in your monthly report, just summarize what was done that month. And as long as you're doing the same thing over and over again, which you should be, then you can just template that, you know, like month one report, month two report, month three report. You just have like, here's what we did this month, you know, which I think is fine for most people. You can put it in emails, you know, just being like, these are the tasks we did this month. This is what we have planned for next month. As opposed to, you know, having to build strategy decks that waste your time and they don't even look at, you know?
Yeah. And I didn't know if you saw anything that maybe we could do to kind of move the needle, because, you know, from a standpoint of like making it work for us, I mean, you got to think most of the people that we're going up against have 200, 300, 400 referring domains in these spaces. And we have a client with 0. So getting to that is challenging, man. It just takes time. And you know, like pitching 12 months is a very tough sell in our industry.
Yep.
Pitching 6 months isn't too bad, but pitching 12 becomes a little bit challenging. And that's truly what most of these campaigns, when you're starting from zero, I mean, to really be competitive, it's 10, 11 months sometimes. So I don't know if there was anything maybe you saw that we could potentially do to move the needle, because going out and acquiring, you know, 10, 15 links in month one just isn't, it's not going to work with all the work that we have to do.
Yeah. I mean, there's not, because at the end of the day, you know, like I said, I mean, basically the way that we're approaching it is like, how can we do less, but how can we focus on the things and just do them as good as possible? For us, for context, for what we're doing with links too, I think I've started to talk about this a little bit, is that, again, we're working with a different type of client, right? We're working with people that, like, my sales guy now knows if they don't have an internal marketing person at a B2B company, then like we're basically just going to downsell them into a done for you strategy and website quality audit, and then just like move on, because we can't operate to the best of our ability doing content and links if they don't have somebody internally that is willing to do some of the work. So basically what we're doing with links is that, like, we're looking at, like, no BS links are cool. Like, they're fine. They get the job done, but like, you know, just selling links is somewhat of a race to the bottom, as always. You know, they're always going to be judged on price versus quality. And it's a headache to manage with the type of clients that we're working with. So instead, we're presenting them 3 link opportunities that they have to do in-house. And then we'll supplement with links that we're doing. So like we're building like some mini training, and then, you know, I'm coaching my team on how to coach, just like we're doing here. And then just going to have 2 monthly calls to be like, hey, look at, like, here's the project plan that we built for you for link building. You know, here's the pitches that you need to send. Here's how to do research to find like really, really good, like industry leading guest post. Like, here's the pitch that you should send, 5 per week. How do those pitches come back? Let's look at them. Like, basically just kind of coaching them through the whole process and helping them build that internally. Another one is podcasts, right? Like, we're basically telling people that, like, you need to have somebody internally that you can turn into a thought leader. Like, again, going back to what we talked about here in the blueprint, and then just proof that we're always doing what we're preaching, is that, like, we're always asking, like, are we doing what's best by the client, right? And part of that is being like, well, just building fucking blog posts that rank in search is not what's best for the client. Like, if you want to be a B2B leader, like, you got to have somebody internally who's a thought leader. So like, we're going to help you understand who that person could be, who that person should be, or maybe do it at the brand level. But either way, right? Like, getting on podcasts is not only a great link building tactic, it's great for the brand, right? So we're going to push that on you too. Here's how to find podcasts. Here's how to pitch them. Here's how to manage it. Let's talk about that every month, see how that's going, right? So we're like really pushing those 2 on them. And then we're being like, okay, now let's see how many links you're getting per month. And then we'll supplement those with paid links from our side, right? Pay us $350 per link. We'll know exactly where to put them, blah, 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 et cetera. So the point is, where I'm going with you is, in Dan too, because I think, Dan, we spoke about this last time we spoke too, is link building in your space, is that, you know, like, figuring out a way that you can, I think, Dan, we actually spoke about that exact same thing. I tried to push that on you, but you were like, look, these people are just not going to do it. Is figuring out a way.
They won't, right?
Yeah.
Like, they won't even set their BBD up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, you know, it's just, so it is challenging. It's a completely different client, right? Like, and I'm not saying that you're right. It's just, how do you do that with a client that, I mean, literally just doesn't want to do it?
well, I mean, that's $1 million question, right? And I can't give you that direct answer, obviously. But I want to help you work through it to figure it out. You know, like, these are just things that you, like, constantly have to be thinking about, constantly think about different scenarios, constantly, you know, it's like super cliche, but like, I set aside like literally at least an hour a week of thinking time. I do it when I walk my dog. No headphones, nothing, just like literally just me, just walking and thinking. And like, you know, I've been thinking about this for a couple of months now with our agency, like, just continuously mulling over, like, how do we get over the situation? Because we're stuck in the situation right now with our agency, just being transparent. We're like, we're limited by the amount of links that we can build, by their budget that they have. And so we're limited on the impact that we can have. Also just the quality. Like, I'm not overly comfortable just hammering people with the same links over and over again. Right. There is a way, it's just a matter of figuring it out. Right. So if that means, I mean, I would say this, stick to what you're doing with, are you using No BS for links? Who are you using? Yeah. You know, continuously just getting the best links that you can possibly get. But, you know, I mean, just looking for different ways that you can influence it. If not, then like, it is what it is. That's just going to have to be, you know, something that you deal with going forward with this. I know it's not the answer that you're looking for, but like, I don't have an answer for how you can get better links for people who won't want to do anything but pay for them, unless you were to build it in house. But I just don't want to see you do that. Like I don't wish anyone to do link building.
No, I completely get it.
So look, I'll say this too, is that then that puts an extra, like if that's something that is not something that's easy to change in terms of links, like how can you influence results on the other direction, right? Like on page, doing that to the best of your ability, internal linking, that's another one that you probably want to put in here. Internal linking is definitely like an impactful thing to do.
We have it a little bit further.
Okay. Cool.
I'll move it up. That's
Cool.
good.
Content marketing, obviously, but yeah, I mean, links are still a part of it. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they work, right? Like we get results for our clients with no BS links again, but like, and we're, so, for maybe this will make you feel better. We're not trying to get off of no BS links because it doesn't work. We're trying to get off it because it's less work for us and we feel like we can charge more for it. Like it's much easier for us to have a conversation and coach someone for, 10 grand over 6 months, as opposed to, us making $150 per link and then being tied to like a capacity output. It's just, I don't like being in that type of business. I'm always trying to push for simplifying and doing less and having a bigger impact while doing it, and it's tough. I get it. Like it's tough with these types of clients that are just like, I'm hiring you so I don't have to do shit, Matt. Like, like that's why you're here. Like, I don't want to hear about it, but at the same time, that gives you an added bonus because then you don't, like I said, you can strip away a lot of this crap like that they won't and don't care about and they won't look at, like just focus on doing the things that are going to move the needle. And that's really it, So yeah, I mean, just kind of still just going through and organizing this, I would just say like focus month one a little bit more on like technical setup. Maybe the output could be like, again, kind of like a way ahead, just like light, high level strategy. Like, hey, this is what we're going to be like, this is what we found. This is what we're going to be working on month 2, then just going into like just blitzing out all the GMB stuff. And you can outsource that. I would imagine the citation stuff, right? So you can even probably stack something else on top of that too. Again, just like trying to get as much stuff done as possible, like keyword research on page, like really, really building out that process to like building these landing pages to be as amazing as possible. And then, and you could even start building links a little bit earlier, again, depending on the budget. So you said you're paying for links out of your retainer, or are they paying extra for those?
Out of the retainer.
Oh, okay. That's tough. Dan, are you charging extra for your clients extra for links, or are you building that into your retainer too?
We built it into the retainer, but essentially I just charge on top for it. But yeah, I don't break out the cost, mostly because in the past, and we've used No BS now, but we've also used a bunch of other stuff. And in all of those circumstances, it hasn't been a consistent number of links that I actually want to build. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's just like I cover the cost on the top, but I tell them, hey, like I'm not, if it's one, it's one. If it's none, it's none. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like, and to be clear, like we don't do a ton of SEO really. So it's like, this isn't something that comes up a ton for us. So yeah, we don't break it out either. That's sort of a rambling answer. But
No. It's helpful. It's helpful for context. Yeah, I mean, I get it. In industries like this, where like again, like they want done for them completely, like you kind of have to build it into the retainer.
It's an industry that is dominated by extremely low cost, extremely low quality SEO, right? So that is where they are anchored, and that is constantly what they're comparing to. So I always say like our biggest competitor is some dude's cousin who will do it for $40. It's never like that. Everyone who is legit, like, including like Rebar and stuff, right? It's like everybody who's legit charges a certain amount, does a certain quality of work, but largely those agencies compete with, Frank from around the block who, Googled SEO 2 days ago. So I think some of it just comes down to client selection, right? Unfortunately, it's like certain people just come in looking for that low cost option, and it's very hard to persuade those people.
Yeah.
And
Understood.
something I actually pulled from one of your calls, Ryan and Dan, that may help you too, is we've started putting in our contact form, there's a minimum. Like we don't even hop on a call unless they're willing to do that minimum.
Yeah.
And that saved us a ton of time because I was taking 5, 6, 7 sales calls a day and their budget was like $800.
Yeah.
Like I can't make that work. I can't come anywhere near that. And it's just I don't want to say it's a waste of time. I would love to help them, but we're just not the agency for them. There's somebody on Upwork who's willing to do it for $800. It's just not going to be us.
Yeah.
And when you're going through the proposal process, Matt, are you showing them, like I had a conversation yesterday with someone who was struggling to raise their prices. And basically what it came down to is that like they were presenting their price and not anchoring that against an expected result,
Yeah. So we do it based on, I always pitch them what their average deal size is. I said, what's your average deal size? They're like, well, if we wholesale a deal, it's 15 grand. If we do a flip, it's 30 grand. I'm like, okay, so you're wanting and expecting, 5 to 10 leads a month where you should be closing 20 to 30% of those, and you want to pay $800. And I just kind of sit there and look at them, and then they're like, well, I guess that doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm like, oh, okay. Because most marketing streams in our industry, the response rate is 1%, and they're lucky if they get 5x return on their investment. And we're sitting here offering potentially 10, 15, 20 times return on their investment. That's a very easy sell.
Yeah.
Or if they can't comprehend that, then they're just not the right client for us. And I don't mean that to sound rude or to downgrade that, but like we want to talk to people who understand ROI. They understand their investment. They're spending X and they get Y.
Mm-hmm.
And we can figure that out within 5 to 10 minutes if this is going to be a good call.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how much are you spending on direct mail? How much are you spending on PPC? What's your return on that? If they have no idea, that's going to be a bad phone call.
Yeah. Agreed.
So agreed completely, Dan. Like it's, how much are you willing to do it for? Well, this agency said they'll do it for this. I mean, we turn away so many people because of that. Just like, hey, then go with that agency. That sounds great.
See you next year.
Yeah, like I would much rather do that because as you've seen, all the work I do in month 1, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And so to get someone set up and then be like month 2, even though they're in contract, well, like, where's our results? That's typically what ends up happening. So anyway, not to hijack the call, but that's just kind of
it's
an interesting point.
It's all good conversation. Cool. Is there anything else, Matt, that you want to chat about?
No, I've taken up enough of y'all's.
No, dude, you're good. Don't worry about it.
So I appreciate your insight, and I'm definitely going to streamline this. I'll send it over to you once we get it streamlined.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Appreciate it.
Cool. All right, Dan, I'm gonna pass it over to you. I just gotta reclaim the host real quick.
All right, cool. I actually only have 8 more minutes. I have to go